Welcome to Unleash Leadership, the podcast where bold leaders and changemakers come together to share their stories, strategies, and insights for creating a lasting impact on society. Karla Blanco is your host. For over 28 years, she has been navigating the complexities of the corporate and government worlds, a journey that's taught her that authentic leadership isn't just about climbing the ladder. It's about lifting others as you rise. Along the way, she uncovered the unwritten rules that drive success, the ones no one tells you about, but that can define your career and legacy. On this podcast, she'll sit down with extraordinary guests from around the globe, leaders, visionaries, and innovators who are leaving their mark on the world. Together, they'll explore their journeys, uncover their tips and tricks, and dive into the challenges they've overcome to inspire you to excel in whatever you're facing. Whether you're climbing the corporate ranks, building your personal brand, or leading change in your community, this podcast is your space to grow, learn, and unleash the leader within. So grab a notebook, get ready to take action, and join us on this journey to unleash our leadership potential. Before we dive in, make sure to follow Karla on Instagram, LinkedIn, at Karla Blanco Coach, Karla with a K, and YouTube at Karla Blanco Show to stay connected and get even more leadership tips and updates.
I am excited to introduce our guest today, David Park, renowned coach for his ability to guide individuals and teams to achieve breakthrough success. With over 40 years of experience and some amazing results, Dave will share some of his secrets, cultivating discipline and inspiring people to reach their full potential. Let me share some of his accomplishments, which are a testament of an inspiring leader. 27 different state qualifying teams, 18 years in a row that at least one team competed at a state cross-country championships, 15 state podium teams, 6 state champion teams, 10 state or national coach of the year honors, 2 Hall of Fame inductions. Thank you, Dave, for being with us today. I'm delighted and honored to have you here. And well, for the audience, I already shared about the many accolades, but I would like you to elaborate about what it means to be twice inducted to the Hall of Fame. What that means and what are your learnings in that process?
Well, first, thank you for having me. And the what that your first question about how's that feel? Well, first off, it feels really nice, but the funnest part about it is those athletes and kids that ran for me. It kind of becomes our little party after the induction, and you get to see some that you haven't seen in years. And matter of fact, at my last one, I had an athlete from Keller. He went on to play professional football, and when I was inducted into their Hall of Fame, I didn't think anything about it. But he came to the other school's induction, and he said, "Coach," he goes, "I missed your Keller Hall of Fame." He said, because I was working. Well, it was on a Sunday, and he was playing professional football. But he said, so I wasn't going to miss this one. And it's those sorts of things that just really get you here. And it's all the kids. It's, that, like I tell them, I'm representing you. And, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. And so, yeah, that's the fun part. The fun part's, the ceremony, all that's neat and all that good stuff. But it's afterwards when we all just get to sit and talk. And
Your legacy and your footprint is
yes,
what really warms your heart.
yes.
And we would like to unveil all your secrets. and one of those is around fear, how you help individuals transform fear into a catalyst for success?
Well, it's a really good question. What I always try to do is let them know that fear is going to be there, but if there's no fear, you don't have an opportunity to show courage. Okay, there's courage isn't present if you didn't have fear, and so we address it, but the fear is that they're going to fail, and I go over and over with them all the times I have failed, and yes, it's going to happen, but if you don't fail, succeeding isn't any fun.
Absolutely.
And we keep talking about that. We talk about that a lot because, especially young adults, they're in this social media age, and oh, did you see so and so had a bad run or a bad race, or it's brutal, and but at the end of the day, they don't mind. We always talk about those that matter don't mind, and those that mind don't matter. Because they're in the bleachers. They don't mind. Who cares?
I love that, but it takes time to build that
Yes,
confidence. And
yes.
what other things you teach them to build that self-confidence?
Well, one thing I do a great deal of is, while yes, I'm the coach, and and sometimes, you know, I have to correct and everything, but I'm always their biggest cheerleader. I can't tell you the amount of times that somebody or a youngster does one good thing, and it's like this light bulb goes off in their head, and it's just, I mean, I got goosebumps right now. I mean, because once it happens, I talk to their parents, I talk to all sorts of people. I said, when the light bulb comes on, you know, it's game over. We're going. We're off the launch pad. Here we go.
Unstoppable.
Yes, yes.
I really appreciate that. And also, you have so many stories
Oh,
because
yes,
there are, decades of
yes.
experience supporting young athletes and many individuals. So, is there any particular moment that you can recall? Was this championship, or are there many? Well, I bet there are many, and every single one is
Well,
special. But
one
which one?
one that really sticks out to me. I had he was a really good runner. Okay, and he and one of his teammates were in a car accident, and I mean, it was bad. And we're talking intensive care. We're talking, and anyway, when he got out of the hospital, I mean, number one, he looked like a shell of himself. And but he came to my office and he said, "Coach, if we can do it in private, I want you to start training me again." And at the time, I was thinking, "You're just lucky to be walking around here." So but I told him, I said, "Look, you go home and clear it with mom and dad. Let me get I need a telephone call saying that they're okay with me." And of course, he was so much slower. But that's just where he was. And he would get frustrated with himself. He was getting better, but he was getting frustrated with himself. And so one day, he said something. I can't even run an interval that's a workout, even close to what I could. And I told him, I said, "Okay, we're done." I said, "Get showered, come into my office." And he comes into my office, and I said, "Look what's on my computer screen." And he looked at it and he goes, It's all my times." And I said, "Yeah, it is." And I erased it right in front of him. And I said, "We're going to start a new file." And it had his first name, and then I put AC on it. And he goes, "Coach, what's the AC?" And I said, "After crash." And I said, "We're going to celebrate just like you started, you're starting over."
I love that.
And so when he would run a personal best, it wasn't a personal best from before the crash, but he redid it. And by the end of his senior year, AC after crash outran before crash.
Wow.
And he ended up going on scholarship. And this was just amazing to me. He came back and I said, "How'd you like that recruiting trip?" And he said, "Coach, you knew I was going to like it and sign there." And I go, "No, I didn't." I said, "What made you like it?" And he goes, "The coach." And I said, "Yeah, what about her?" And he said, "She was in a horrible car accident too, and she came back." And she said, "I'm going to keep bringing, yes, you can." And I went, "Golly, I didn't even know that. But boy, that's the perfect coach for this kid."
That's
And
amazing.
and so that one, I do have some more, but that one, I mean, he had every right to just say, "Okay, my career's over, my running career is finished," and but he still had that passion.
That is
And
so inspiring.
yes,
And discipline is so important.
mm-hmm.
And when you take a look into the different CEOs around the globe, many of them, men and women, have been athletes. And I think discipline and just that strength and resilience they build
Yes,
also is so important. Can you elaborate about how resilience and
yes,
discipline
yes.
work out together on
Matter
that?
of fact, discipline I talk about a lot in Focal Point, uh, and but I reword it a little bit. It's when people say I'm tough, you think of physical, but no, toughness is is the ability to be consistent. Toughness is the ability to always, like you said, the discipline to continue. And toughness in like my field is nutrition. And all your peers, you know how high school kids eat, you know, and you've got to say, "No, I really can't eat that. And I've got to drink this much water a day, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that." And I said, "You're going to lose friends because you're abnormal." And I always use the term, if you're going to be exceptional, you got to have the discipline to be the exception. And, your friends want to stay out late. No, I've got an early workout tomorrow. You know, they want to do this. No, I can't do that. If, it doesn't look, everybody thinks, "Oh, I want to be this. I want to be great. I want to be," but the, the consistency and the commitment doesn't always look like they think it does. And, my kids, and I'm sorry, I keep calling them my kids, but they are,
Yes, they are.
uh, you know, from the state championships in cross country is first, second week in November. They start training 6 days a week in June to build it. I won't go into the specifics of that, but the only day that they don't run is Sunday. And it takes discipline, especially in the state of Texas when it's hot, for us to get up. And we start running at 5:30 in the morning every morning. And that is consistency, and that's also commitment. My team, they even kind of develop this thing when somebody new comes. Oh, they're happy for them, and they want to show them everything, but they just kind of step back and say, "Are they going to be here in 3 weeks? Are they going to be committed?" And yes, some don't, but the moment they think, "Oh, they're all in," then they really wrap their arms around them. And but it's a tough. Discipline is part of being tough, mentally tough, and pain tough.
Yes,
I mean, their pain tough's a little different than what we normally associate it with. But yeah, and that's why I always tell them, I forget who said it, tough times don't last, but tough people do. And then I follow it up with them. I say, and you're the toughest person I know. And, because you've shown me how tough you are. You've shown me that you're going to persevere. And so.
That they are committed.
Yes.
And I really like what you mentioned about they may lose some friends
Yes.
in the way, but also they will become family of
Yes.
the people that are around them, because
Yes.
all them are committed,
Yes.
and they are supporting each other.
Absolutely.
How that support plays in those teams that you train that support to each other?
Well, we laugh because the kids move like a tribe, and because they're family, if one goes over to somebody's house, they all go, and they clean out that pantry, and then they move to the next parent house, and they eat them out of house and home. Anyway, but yeah, a lot of people will let themselves down, but they never want to let their family down. And yes, they are family because, they cry, they celebrate together, they cry together. And I don't know how many times that somebody has just, as I call it, ran out of their brain. I mean, ridiculous better time. And every time I'll go up to them afterwards and I'll say, do you know how fast you ran? And they always say, words say the same thing. They say, well, the team was in trouble and the team needed me to step up. And so, yes, that family atmosphere and all for one. And we have two slogans that I really embed in them from the day they start with me. And the first one is, we're not runners on a team. We are a team that runs. And there's a difference. And then the other is, when you put yourself first, you're going to eventually finish last. It's only when you put yourself last and others first that you have a chance to become first. And because everybody's running for each other, there's this, it builds its own energy. It builds its own energy.
So much wisdom.
Well, I don't know about that.
I really appreciate all that sharing. Dave, this is amazing, and I've been enjoying a lot. But I would like to transition
Okay.
to something great that is coming. Focal Point. Tell us
yes.
about why Focal Point and what the audience can wait. And I'm looking forward to have you back and share more about that. When
I
it's
would
launched.
absolutely love that. Okay, Focal Point it's got a double meaning. And to the track and field world, it has a meaning. It's a very big coaching point. We just had the 24 Olympic Games, okay? And I can tell you, without even watching the 100 meters, what every runner did. When they got warmed up and they're being introduced, they're going to stand behind their blocks and they're going to look down the track, and they're just staring down the track. They're looking for something that is at eye level in the middle of their lane that they can focus on while they're running, okay? And then they just close their eyes. You'll see them. They'll just close their eyes. And what they're trying to do is burn that into their head, because when they start, they're in the blocks and they're not looking down there. And so when the gun goes off and they're in what we call the explosive phase, their head's down. They can't see it. But when they move to acceleration, they want to be able to lock onto that point as quickly as possible, so that all their energies, their physics, every bit of their being is trying to move straight to that point. You don't see them looking around because that's going to curve their path. Okay, that's their focal point.
I love that.
Okay, and really leadership, you've got to have a focal point. If you're going to be a leader, you got to have a focal point. And my focal point, and I'll explain it in the book, is like an archery target. Okay, and in my case, the center is God. Okay, that's got to be the center, and then our team focal point after that is their families, but we can be included in that because we're family.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is pretty funny. They're at school to get an education, so I got to put that at number 3.
Yes.
And then our cross country team is number 4. And we always talk about, we just want to be number 4. And that, if you think about it, I've always told the kids, if you got to miss because you're being tutored, they very seldom are. Because if they're that disciplined, their grades are going to be fine. But if they say, yeah, I had to finish writing my English essay, I'll look at them and I'll say, well, you mean you went home last night and you worked that essay and you still didn't finish? You had to, do it this morning during our practice. And this actually happened. And he said, oh, no, Coach, I went to a concert last night. And I said, oh, so you put the concert up to number 3 and bumped us to 5. You've got to have your priorities, and your focal point is going to take you, you're going to go where you're looking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You're going to go where you're looking. And that is what the book's all about, because leaders, so many times they have to have a focal point.
Vision.
They've got, exactly. And as we talk about it, I go into leadership as far as, I kind of simplify leadership. All right. They have a lot of adjectives and dynamic and all these things to describe a great leader. At the end of the day, a leader is nothing more than a person that others follow. Okay? A boss is not a leader. He's got the money power over the top. Okay? So, are you a boss or are you a leader? Okay? So then it's like you reverse engineer it. Okay? How do you get people to follow you? If you want to be a leader, if you truly want to be a leader, how do you get them to follow? Well, number 1, you got to be authentic. You've got to be you. You can't try to be somebody else, because they're going to see through it. And eventually you might get away with it for a couple weeks, but you've got to be you. They've got to know it's you. And if you want to be a leader and you want people to follow you, okay, then you've got to be committed and consistent. With my runners, I want to be the first face they see. I don't sit in the coach's office while they come in to get dressed. I'm standing outside, and I'm going to greet them, and I'm going to be there every single day. Just, hey, how's it going today? What are you up to? And when I mean constant, you can't have, oh, I'm tired. Oh, I just want to mail it into. No, you have to. Do you have those days? Absolutely. Do you have adversity? Absolutely. But you got to be a constant for those that are following, so that every day when they see you, they see your confidence. They see, I want those that are in my charge to see that I'm going to be there and I'm going to be wired in to them. And if you get there early or you get late, and this, and you come and you get emotional ups and downs, we all get them.
Yeah.
Just don't show it. Just, you know, where's your focus?
Focus.
It should be on them and not on yourself and on your problems. So, so that's how, those are just two of the things I mentioned on how to be a leader. And again, it comes back to, it's not always pretty, but if you really want to be a leader, you're going to take that. You're going to take that time. You're gonna
Walk the talk.
Yes, yes.
So
You're
it's a
John
verb.
Maxwell. You know,
Yes.
your talk talks and your walk talks, but your
Yes.
walk talks louder than your talk talks. And
Exactly.
yes, and so you got to model what you want them
Exactly.
to do,
To do.
and
That's
so
inspiring leadership and servant
yes.
leader.
And we do that. I mean, we have team captains, and my team captains, it's not a glory position. Okay, the team elects them, but they don't know they're electing them. It's seniors, and I talk a little bit about this. The ballot is really a rubric. Say there's 10 seniors. And so I asked the rest of the team, you know, rank these 1 through 10 on helpfulness. Rank them 1 through 10 on enthusiasm. Rank them one, and speed has nothing to do. You won't see on there who's the fastest. No, I've had some of the greatest captains that didn't even make it onto a varsity race, but they were no doubt the leaders of the team. You know, they were the ones that people follow.
Yeah.
And so, and then I plug 2 males and 2 females in, and they're just an extension of me. And during the summer, I make the new freshmen, they'll come to me with a question, and I'll just look, go ask your captain. I'm just here. They're running practice. I'm just here to get to know you. And I literally let them run the practice. And I'm just there to kind of, as gutter guards, to keep us on the right track. But if I am the only motivation, they've got to be able to motivate each other and lead each other. And then at our banquet at the end of the season, the seniors get to give the team a speech, you know, as their parting wisdom for the team. And that's kind of how we build it.
Well, let me tell you that the dream that any corporation has on having those kind of teams where trust is built
Yes.
and that they rely on each other because the results are amazing and all the recognition that you have gathered throughout the years show that.
Well, I appreciate that, but that's and I hope I had a small part in it, but I forget who said it, but a football coach a long time ago, they had won the national championship, and he was asked in the locker room, he said, "What do you think about your team?" And he said, "That's just profound." He said, "I'll let you know in 20 years."
Wow.
And so that's what I'm trying to build. You know, I'll let you know, and fortunately, I've got some samples now that's older, and I'm really thrilled at the men and women they've become.
You are very humble because we already know the results of those teams for many decades that you have been forming and supporting, and that is the results talk loud. That
Yeah.
the actions and the results talk loud.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
It's so fun. You know, like I said, if this quits being fun, I'll go get another. You know, everybody says, "Well, you're doing a great job." I said, "I'm not working. I'm enjoying every inch of
You
what
are
I'm
living
doing."
your purpose.
Yes,
So,
yes.
what will you?
My focal point.
Your focal point. Yes, that's amazing. What would you tell to John Dave about any lesson learned throughout the years when
Oh,
you were a teenager?
oh, okay. The first one comes from my father, and I was real mad because I'm a competitive person, and I probably had it coming. I was also kind of cocky, but I had a horrible practice, and the coach, it was football, and the coach demoted me to second team. Okay, and I went home and I was livid. Okay, and I remember my dad. He said, "Son," he said, "I'm your father," and he said, "If you're looking for sympathy," he says, "come over here and I'm gonna give you a big old hug." He said, "But if you're looking for results, you need to get to work." And he's always ingrained a work ethic in us, me and my two brothers. And but that is the first. I mean that, and anytime I get a setback or something doesn't happen the way I think it should happen, that voice comes into my head. Hey, if you want sympathy, come over here. I got a hug for you. But if you want results, get back to work.
Back to work.
And so I've kind of always had that mindset. And then I was blessed to be coached by a really good coach, and in track and field. And matter of fact, he ended up being the head Olympic coach in the 2012 games in Beijing. And when I started coaching, I wasn't getting through. And so I called him. We didn't have cell phones back then. It was this was one of these, okay? And I felt like he would answer. And I told him, I said, "Coach, I'm missing something. What am I missing?" And he says, "Well, what kind of image are you portraying?" And I told him what I was doing and stuff. And he starts laughing. And he says, "Park," he says, "that's not you."
Oh, wow.
He said, "You're trying to be me." And he goes, "We are two different people." He said, "Don't be a mediocre me. Go be a wonderful you." He said, "Be David Park." And that's kind of when everything started. That, and when two little books came out, that the 17 indisputable laws of teamwork and the 21 irrefutable laws of
Yes.
leadership. Yeah, I've got a Maxwell signature older than anybody else. But anyway, but all that kind of coincided at the same time, and then it just took off.
That's amazing because, and I love that also in your book you talk about leadership and you talk about being unique
Yes.
because everyone brings a unique value. And
Yes.
once you embrace your uniqueness, you
Yes.
just flourish.
Absolutely.
Really
I
appreciate that.
be you.
Be
Just,
you.
be the best version of you, and you're going to be great.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate and have enjoyed this time together. Uh,
I
In,
have too.
Thank you. In order to close, I would like you to share what unleash leadership means.
Oh, okay. Unleash leadership. That uh, I'm excited to see the other podcasts, because that comes, but to unleash it, we've already addressed some of it. First, to unleash it, you got to be able to overcome the fear. Okay, you've got to be able to overcome fear. You've got to be so many people, they want to do it, but they just kind of want to do it because they're afraid that if they unleash it and nobody follows, they're gonna there's a problem,
Yes.
and that hurts. Okay, so but if you don't unleash it, you're not going to succeed. And if you fail, okay, you learned one way that didn't work. Fail just means first attempt in learning.
Yes.
And repackage yourself, but make sure it's yourself, and then unleash it again. And I just love that term. Let it go. Just
Yes.
set it free. And that's when I saw unleash, I just went, I love that word.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for that time together. And I'm looking forward to learn more about Focal Point and when it comes out. I will be sharing with the audience how they can connect with you.
Oh, great. I would
Yes,
love
so
that.
that we all can be part of that book launch team.
Yes. Oh, I would really appreciate that.
Thank
But
you.
I just thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.